So today we are going to talk about nutrition and diabetes.
First of all, to begin with,
diabetes. It is a worldwide epidemic. In India, in 2002, the survey reported that approximately 61.3 million people are suffering from diabetes, and the number is expected to go somewhere around 101.2 million in 2030. It is one of the leading cause of death in India. What is diabetes? So diabetes is an elevated blood sugar level which is characterized as diabetes. In non-diabetic people, the body's own hormone insulin ensures that sugar is derived from the food and ends up in the cell and metabolized into energy. For this sugar has to surpass the cell's lock. In order to surpass that lock, they require a key. And if that key is not available, then only there is a disbalance in the sugars which goes back to the blood, and hence it goes to high blood sugars, or which is called diabetes. So there are two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. In type 1, these keys are not produced by the pancreas. They are just not any key to attach to the cell. So what happens is whatever food we have taken is directly going to the blood in the form of glucose, and hence it is called type 1 diabetes, for which we require insulin to take control. It generally happens at an early age, before 35 years of age, and it can also happen to an older adult also. But generally we see type 1 cases in young adults. Type 2 generally appears in mid to later adulthood if your blood sugar remain high or fluctuates, and a number of dangerous complications can arise. So in type 2 diabetes, what happens, that either the key is not sufficiently secreted by the pancreas, or the cells are not accepting those keys. In both the cases, what is happening, partial glucose is going in your blood and increasing your blood sugars. This can be managed by medicines, or it could, if it is just not manageable, then we have to introduce insulin. There are various signs and symptoms by which we can ensure that this person might have diabetes, such as frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, increased thirst, weight gain, slow healing, excess sleep, blurriness of the vision, and excessive fatigue. You might be very surprised to know that there are two components we have talked about, weight loss and weight gain, at the same time. But generally, a typical sign in type 1 is the weight loss, and a typical sign in type 2 is generally the weight gain. Dietary management. Learn to with it. It beats the alternative. Diabetes is just not like cold and cough that you take a medicine for 5 days course and it is resolved. It is a lifelong disease. What you can do is you can control it. And you should know that you have diabetes and you are doing all possible things to control it. So the 4 very important things that help you control the diabetes is diet, exercise, monitoring, and medication at the same time. So planning a healthy meal is very important. So the objective of nutritional therapy is to help people with diabetes learn how to make the kind of lifestyle choices which will enable them to achieve optimum metabolic control and prevent diabetes complications. By this, you need to also understand that you have to reach your ABC goals. That is to control sugars, to control your blood pressure, and to control your cholesterol. And also either to lose weight or keep your weight from gaining. It is important to know things such as food choices, methods of preparation, portion sizes, meal timing, physical activity, intercurrent illness, that is your celiac disease, the diabetes treatment plan, and it can play a role in achieving optimal diabetes control. So dietary recommendation for adults with diabetes is carbohydrates, that is 55 to 60%, which is mostly starch. Why carbohydrate? Because it is the major fuel for the body. Dietary fiber, minimum 20 grams per 1000 kilocalories. Dietary fiber plays a very important role in controlling diabetes. That is why we nutritionists are mostly always after taking salads and fruits and whole cereals. Why? Because it entraps the glucose and make the release very slow in the body. Fats. 15 to 20%. Very interesting to know. Sometimes people go to a doctor or to any medical person and they say not to have a diet high in fat or not to have fat at all. But somehow this is a fact that you cannot just stop having fat, because you need to cook food, you need fat, it makes your food palatable. Whatever dairy, whatever non-veg you are taking contains fat. So yes, body does require fat because it creates a sheath around the body and it protects the organs as well. So 15 to 20% of the fat, visible fat, should be taken, but make sure it doesn't go beyond half a liter for one person for a month. That to keep on changing the fats. Protein, not more than 10 to 20%, that is 0.8 gram to 1 kg per day. Sodium, less than 3000 milligram per day. Vitamins and minerals, they are the main sources in the body which are repairing our body, because whatever we are doing throughout the day goes into a lot of wear and tear, and our body is only repaired if we have vitamins and minerals in the body. Per se, just imagine one single molecule of magnesium performs 320 chemical reactions in the body. So magnesium, which is not even required in the micro quantity, performs so many functions. Think about the vitamins and minerals which are required in the macro quantities, such as your vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, calcium, phosphorus, other things. What is a diabetes meal plan? It tells you how much and what kind of foods you can choose to eat at meals and snack times. A good meal plan should fit in with daily schedule and eating habits. It helps in improving your blood glucose, blood pressure, and lipid levels, and help attain or maintain your ideal weight. It balances your food with insulin, your occasions, and exercise to manage blood glucose levels. As I've already told you, that you have taken an X amount of food, but your body releases Y amount of insulin. So in order to balance that X and Y, you need to have small, frequent meals wherein your body is able to utilize and your medications are able to act upon it. Okay. So this is a typical food pyramid. Here we are talking about how to have our foods, what to do, what should be our choices. So it is not a regular food pyramid that we see in our textbook. It is a different food pyramid, specially designed wherein you know what you are doing. So at the base we have daily exercises and weight control. People say to do exercises probably 5 times a day, 4 times a day, and it will help you. Sorry, it doesn't. We are not the people who can store food. We are not the camels who have a hump and we can store that food. Otherwise, if that would have been a condition, we would have stored almost half of the things and we would have carried out in the later process. So physical activity should be a daily routine, not probably 2 days in a week or 3 days in a week, or probably a strenuous activity at one given point of time. Then very important thing is whole grains, because this is, as I've told you already earlier also, that these foods are the major fuel for a body. If we do not take food high in carbohydrate, then we will feel sluggish throughout the day. Our body will go in a metabolic distress. So have at least 5 to 6 servings of whole grains. The one serving being 15 to 20 grams. It could be one small chapati, it could be one small bread. So the carbohydrate exchanges we might be talking about after a few slides, but then these are the foods that you should take in ample amount. That is like 5 to 6 servings in a day. Then comes your vegetables and fruits. Very important. As I've already told you, why vegetables and fruits are very important is because they have a lot of vitamins and minerals. So if we talk about vegetables, have 3 to 4 servings of vegetables, one serving being 100 grams uncooked. If we talk about fruits, 2 to 3 servings of fruits, one serving being 80 grams. Then we have nuts, legumes, 1 to 3 times a day, a handful, that is, not more than that, because they contain good fat, that is omega-3 fatty acid. The extra sugars from the dates, the extra sugar from the raisins will get converted into the glucose, and the moment you will have it, the peak that you will attain will be uncontrollable. Then we have the dairy, the fish, the eggs, poultry, etc. Proteins are very important as they are the bodybuilding food, and if we not have that, we'll start losing the muscle mass. And the things that you need to use sparingly are all the white things like white rice, white bread, white pasta, potatoes, salt, sugar, etc. Along with this, very important thing is water. As you know, water increases the blood volume. Water helps in flushing out the toxins from the body. So you should have water at least 8 to 10 glasses a day. The healthy eating pyramid. The daily exercises and weight control is the strong influence to stay healthy. Carbohydrates, whole grains at the most meals. It delivers the brand. Why we are talking about whole grains all the time is because the brand, the fiber that is all along available with the carbohydrates will entrap the sugars in between, because whatever food we take gets converted into sugars. So it will entrap the food in between, glucose in between, and release the sugar peaks very, very slowly. It keeps the hunger at bay. The sources are whole wheat, brown rice, oatmeal, etc. They are the major source of energy in the body. They are important part of a healthy meal plan. If they are refined, they increase the blood glucose levels immediately. So keeping the amount consistent can help you reach your blood glucose goals. Many meal plans include 3 to 4 carbohydrate servings at each meal. Each carbohydrate serving should be equal to 15 grams of carbohydrate. So if we plan major meals like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should have at least 2 servings of carbohydrate each. But if we talk about the minor meals, that is the mid meals in between your breakfast and lunch, or lunch or dinner, then make sure that the carbohydrate that you are taking, it should be high in fiber, and the portion size should not be increased more than 1. So use carbohydrate tables and food labels to learn more about serving sizes. This is a typical 15-gram carbohydrate exchange. So one small chapati is 15 grams of carbohydrate. One small apple is again 15 grams of carbohydrate. One small banana, though it is very difficult to find nowadays. So if you go to South India side, then only you will get bananas, which is in general called keli. That small size banana is 15 grams of carbohydrate. 2 biscuits, which are multigrain and sugar-free. Bread, 1 slice of bread. Cereals, 3/4 cup of cereal, that is your oats or your poha or suji. Corn, half a cup. Milk, 1 whole cup. Juice, half a cup. Cooked pasta is 1/3 cup. Potato is half cup. Rice, 1/3 cup. So there are certain myths revolving around diabetes, that if you have diabetes, you should not have rice. If you have diabetes, you should not have potatoes. If you have diabetes, you should restrain from having mangoes. It is not that. What you need to make sure is that you are controlling the portion sizes at each and every meal. And even if you do some cheating sometimes, it is okay. You just need to compensate and do extra physical activity. So the healthy eating pyramid, as we were talking about plant oils. There's a lot of myth going around oils as well, that ghee should not be taken, only use of olive oil is better. Now another oil has come up in the market, canola oil. I think all the oils are good for the body, but the only thing that you need to make sure is that you keep on changing the oils. Rotation of oil is very important, because every oil has its own fatty acid profile. Some has omega-3, some has saturated fatty acid, some has MUFAs, some has PUFAs. So the ideal practice would be have 3 to 4 types of oil in the kitchen. Make one vegetable with one, another with another, another with another. But make sure for one person you are not exceeding the limit of half a liter in 1 month. It is very, very important to keep a strong check of oils that you're using. Vegetables and fruits. Why they are very important? Because throughout the day we are walking, we are talking, we are breathing, whatever we are doing, our body is under a constant strain and it is going under a lot of wear and tear. So to repair the body, the workers which are working in the body is vitamins and minerals that will be only present, or which you will only gain if you take ample amount of vegetables and fruits. And the benefit is that they decrease the chance of heart attack, They protect against various cancers, lowers blood pressure, guard against cataract and macular degeneration, add variety and wake up the palate. Fish and poultry, 2 times a day, that is like 0 to 2 times a day. One portion size is not more than 80 grams. So it is a good source of protein, can be low in cholesterol by selecting white and leaner meats. Nuts and legumes, again I would say, do not debar them completely from your diet. They are excellent source of protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals. Apart from that, most of the nuts are excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids. Legumes, like your whole pulses, rajma, chana, urad, they contain the healthy fats, almonds, walnuts, peanuts. Again, if you combine them with your legumes and have it soaked in the morning, they're going to give you the best results because it's an ideal combination of omega-3 along with your proteins. Dairy, very important. There are many myths going around for dairy products, that not to have milk as it degenerates your bone. But let me be very clear here, you are not taking even a single source of calcium in your diet. And the maximum calcium that you get is from the dairy products. And it is high in good fats, it is good in calcium, it is good in magnesium, it is good in phosphorus. So dairy products is a must. Not more than half a liter in a day should be consumed. It could be consumed in the form of curd, it could be consumed in the form of paneer or milk as it is. Red meats and butter, it should be taken sparingly because anyways red meats are high in fat, and diabetes, as now the studies have shown, it is the pre-condition for cardiac diseases. Even so many cardiovascular doctors now say that now we should treat diabetes as it is the precondition for cardiovascular diseases. So healthy eating is the key. White rice, white bread, potatoes, sodas, sweets, they should be taken sparingly. Why sparingly? Because these are all the refined products. Whenever you will consume it, your body will attain a peak sugar rise, wherein your body pancreas is not able to sustain or secrete that much of insulin, because of which the blood sugar increases, there's a rapid weight gain, there's chances that you have heart conditions, and because of all these sodas and the junk food that we are having nowadays, the increased risk of blood pressure is also there. Alcohol, it is good for health though, but the limited amount is very important. So the moderate amount lowers the risk of heart disease because it has a punch of antioxidants. For a man, 1 or 2 drinks. By 1 or 2 drinks, I mean 2 small pegs. That is 30 to 60 ml if it is whiskey, rum, tequila, vodka. If we talk about wine, not more than 150 ml. If we talk about beer, not more than 1 pint. And 1 pint should also be a summer beer, not the darker ones. For women, 1 drink a day is, I think, more appropriate. Now, because everybody cannot be a dietitian, everybody cannot be a doctor. So it is very important. Now we keep on telling our patients have 2 servings, have 4 servings, have 5 servings. But what exactly these servings mean? How to calculate these servings? So the best thing is to use your hand as a guide. So Zimbabwe hand jive was first used in Africa to teach people how much they should eat by using hands as a measure. Hands can be very useful in calculating the portion sizes. They are always available and are always the same size. So carbohydrates, starch and fruit, choose an amount equivalent to the size of 2 fists. For fruit, use 1 fist. So as I was talking about carbohydrate, 15 grams. So if we talk about 1 chapati should not more than be the 1 fistful of size. If we talk about 80 grams of fruit, it is 1 fistful of size. Protein, choose an amount equivalent to the size of the palm of your hand and the thickness of your little finger. So that is somewhere around 80 grams. And because when we talk about chicken, when we talk about fish, we go overboard because the whole meal, half of the plate comprised of the protein portion. So 2 portions of protein, It could be taken once in a day, it could be taken twice in a day, but make sure you're not going overboard with the protein size. Vegetables, as much amount that you can take in both of your hands. So it is very important, raw, cooked, any form you take, the portion size should be more than 300 to 400 grams in a day. How you can include vegetables now? 300 to 400 grams. If we talk about it, it is like too much. Half a kg of vegetable in a day? Oh God, that's too much. Now what you can do is you can have it like 2 quarter plates of salad in a day, one in your lunch, one at your dinner, and all the cooked 2 to 3 katoris of vegetables in a day, and you are through with your vegetable consumption. Fat. Limit fat to an amount the size of the tip of your thumb. Drink no more than 250 ml of low-fat milk with a meal. Rest your yogurt because it has probiotic contents, and your paneer will help you attain the things. Sick day rules, very important, because when you are a diabetic or you have a diabetes, when you have a person who's suffering from diabetes, when they are sick, they tend to avoid their medications, they tend to avoid the food. Ultimately, they land up into the problems because their sugar levels will go up if they have not taken a medicine. Their body will develop ketones if they are not eating food, because the body hormones will go to the liver, they'll attack the liver to release the stored fat. And if that stored fat is released in the body, it will be only released in the form of ketones. So treat infections and viral illnesses as soon as possible. Fluids are very important during polyuria, vomiting, or diarrhea. Check blood glucose levels. If not in target range, contact medical help. And also, if your sugar levels are going down, do not treat it by having anything and everything that is available to you. There's a set protocol, which I will be talking about hypoglycemia after this slide. Check for ketones. It is very important. If moderate to high and blood glucose elevated, contact medical help. Very important. Do not take diabetes liberally, because what happens is when you are advised a diet, when you're advised a medicine, we generally think, okay, fine, for the first few months our sugars are okay, we need not to go to a doctor, and then we stop checking also, probably because of the pain of pricking, probably because of the pain to go to a doctor and have a thrashing from him. But guys, very important is how you prick, how you do the checking. It is also important. So when we'll finish up with this whole presentation, the only tip that I'm going to tell you is how to check your sugars and where to check your sugars. Hypoglycemia, as I was already talking about, when your sugar levels go down, there's a set protocol for it. If the blood glucose are less than 72 milligrams per deciliter blood, sometimes people have symptoms, sometimes it is asymptomatic. So symptoms could be blurriness of the vision, excessive thirst, excessive hunger, tiredness, something which is just not okay with the body. Check your sugars. I'm only talking about these symptoms in a diabetic, not in the people who are not suffering from the diabetes. So check your blood sugars. If it is less than 72, you need to administer direct sugars. No matter whatever amount of tea you take, whatever amount of food you take, you need to have 15 grams of glucose stat. It could be 3 teaspoons of sugar, 3 teaspoons of glucose, half a cup of regular juice, 3 to 4 sugar candies, that is the hard crystalline candies, now available in the form of Orange Bite, Mango Bite, Fox's crystalline candies. Or you can have 4 glucose tablets. They are available by the name of Hypotabs, Glucon-D Volt, Glucovitas. After ingesting either of these things, check your sugars again. That is after 15 minutes. So it's a rule of 15-15, 15 grams of carbohydrate, 15 minutes of weight. Check your sugars after 15 minutes. If your sugars are above 80, then do not think that they have come to a normal level. Eat something. If it is still less than 80, you need to repeat the process and check your sugars after 15 minutes. Even after 3 attempts, if your sugar levels are not settled, you need to administer dextrose. So a medical help is required. Go to a nearby hospital or a nursing center wherein they can administer dextrose. So I have already talked about the management of hypoglycemia. Food at the workplace, because it is just not very easy when I talk about having small frequent meals all throughout the day, because some people are working, they don't get time, they have meetings to follow, they cannot take out time in between. So what you need to do, see, it is a 8-hour day job, but then 2 to 3 hours in Delhi, of course, you have traveling also. In other cities, it could be lesser, but then almost 50% of the waking hours you are spending, you have 130, you can make 113 food decisions, whether you should eat, whether you should not eat, whether you should have one meal, whether you should skip meal or have snacks. It is all up to you. But an ideal practice, what would be is, wake up in the morning, have your breakfast, go to the office, have some vitamin snack, that could be your fruit, that could be chaat, that could be salad, have a proper meal, have in form of lunch, that could be your 2 chapatis, dal, dahi, sabzi and salad, not a problem. Even if you're a rice eater, you can have 1.5 cup of boiled rice. But make sure it should be made in an open pan, and you should strain out the extra water. Then an evening tea and your dinner, of course, but it should not be late, somewhere around 10, 11ish. You should have early dinners, because that's going to support your carbohydrate release and the carbohydrate utilization in the body. So employees can have access to many eating opportunities at work also. They can have something in the cafeteria. So having diabetes doesn't mean that you cannot have outside food. You can have cafeteria food, but make sure if you're taking the gravy food, it should be taken from the bottom, because all the oil is settled at the top. If it is a dry vegetable, then you should take it from the top, because all the oil that is settled is at the bottom layer of the vessel. Okay. Treats in lunchroom can also be taken. You can have candy, you can have snacks, you can have anything at work. That's not a problem, as long as you know you're making a wise choice. Food at meetings and events, very important. Sometimes what happens, we are in a meeting, a samosa is served, probably some wafers are served along with the tea we are having, and which is unavoidable. So what you can do is, you can have a samosa, but make sure you're having only half of a samosa, not the whole. And if you're too hungry, then, and you are in a meeting, you know, you can ask the person to deliver you the roasted snacks. Now in most of the MNCs, they have a food lounge, they have an area where they keep roasted snack as the snacking option. 7 easy ways to start eating healthier at work. Ditch the junk, make time for meals, bring leftovers, plan your meals ahead, keep snacks at your desk, bring in a water bottle, and choose balanced snacks. So by balanced snacks, I mean you can have, even if you want to have a burger, the tikki should be made of soybean. If you want to have a pizza, it should not be a whole cheese pizza. It can be a slice of vegetables on it with cheddar cheese. Healthy snacks for the office could be nuts such as walnuts and almonds, a handful, fruits, salads, sprouts, chaat, roasted snacks, soup, green tea. By fruit, you can have apple, papaya, guava, pear, oranges, mosambi, jamun, nectarines, watermelon, any fruit 200 grams at one given point of time. But if we talk about mangoes, bananas, lychees, chikus, grapes, you need to restrict the portion sizes. Not 200 grams is sufficient for you at that time. So you can have like half a mango, a medium size mango, half a banana, because now the bigger bananas are available. As I've talked about, 15 grams is one small keli. So you can have half a banana, you can have 6 to 8 lychees, one whole chiku, 8 to 12 grapes, or half a sharifa. These fruits in controlled portion will be equivalent to the 200 grams of other fruits that you have taken. If we talk about roasted snacks, now they are very difficult. If we talk about roasted snacks, okay, fine. Now, where should I go and purchase these roasted snacks? Go to a market, ask them that I need to have whole roasted wheat, I need to have soybean. You can take bajras, muris, jowars. Now, even the Western snacks like couscous, quinoa, finoid, teff, all are available in India. So you can go for those low glycemic millets also. In the meetings and events, healthy choices area are always available. So they reduce the, so what you can do is reduce the quantity, the size of unhealthy item and increase the healthy choices. Even if the healthy choices are not an option for you, reduce the size. So portion control is very important. Consider the current food defaults. You can have vegetables as your side dishes. This is what is happening nowadays. Have vegetables as your main dish now. Whole grains, very rare. Okay, now I want to lose weight, probably then I'll take whole grains. Keep it in your daily habit. Whatever flour you're using, you're adding a lot of multigrain to it. Healthy soups, instead of going for colas, drinks, squashes, have soups, or you can have chaach. Downsize the portion sizes. Do not have larger plates, have smaller plates, or reduce the portion sizes to the half portion sizes that you're generally taking, because as we say, small frequent meal is the key. So your prescription to thrive could be: pay attention to the portions, avoid supersizing. When eating out, consider splitting an entree. Set regular times to eat, 3 meals and no more than 2 snacks per day. Limit saturated and trans fats. Trans fats, now very important. When we go and purchase a food, probably a packaged food, what we see is there are 2 types of fats that is written: total fat and a trans fat. Generally, people think that the total fat, trans fat is the part of total fat, but it is not. Trans fat is a total different fat that is being mentioned on the label. So you calculate both the fats, and that is the fat intake that is there in your 1 portion size of packaged food that you're taking. Increase daily intake of fruits and vegetables, at least 5, aim for 7 and 9. So colors, include the colors. The more the colors, more the antioxidants that you are taking in your diet. Since fiber can increase the feeling of fullness, aim for at least 2 to 3 servings of whole grain food per day. Or you can have 1 big quarter plate of salad at one given point of time. Limit sweetened beverages, drink water or non-fat or 1% milk. Diabetes alone cannot work. What you need to do, to control diabetes is 4 things. There are 4 cornerstones to control your diabetes. A, diet and having food at proper interval time. Every 3.5 hours, you should have something or the other. Another thing is medicine. There should be a proper time of administering medicine. There are certain people who are on insulin and they're not being told when to take that insulin, whether it is 5 minutes prior to the meal, half an hour prior to the meal, or after the meal. There are set doses, and generally, if you ask me, the insulin should be taken 5 to 10 minutes before the meal, not before that. Otherwise, the effect of insulin would be that you will land up into hypoglycemia. Monitoring of your sugars, very important. What happens is we are taking diet, we are taking medicine, but we are not monitoring our sugars. If we don't know what is happening to our body, how our sugar levels are going, how the sugars are behaving in our body, then we won't be able to adjust your medicines or diet by any of the chance. So the ideal practice would be, even if you have to go to your physician, plan it a week ahead. So day 1, check your fasting and PP, that is 2 hours after your breakfast. Day 2, check your before lunch and after lunch reading. So before lunch would automatically become your random reading, but after 2 hours after lunch would be your PP reading. Day 3, check your sugars before dinner and after dinner. This way you will have a set graph, set pattern, how your sugars are behaving. 4th, very important thing, physical activity. But when we talk about physical activity in diabetics, it should never ever be empty stomach, because going for a morning walk, then already 7 to 8 hours we have been in a fasting state. And if we go for a walk immediately, our sugar levels will drop down. And in India, I don't know why there is a taboo that I'm a diabetic and nobody should know about it. If you are a diabetic, everybody should know about it, because sometimes when you're landing into a condition like hypoglycemia, at least they will know what to do with you. So physical activity, getting back to physical activity again, Take the stairs whenever possible, because it is very difficult when you are working, you don't find time to go for a fixed hours of walk. So take the stairs whenever possible. Purchase a pedometer or download a pedometer app in your phone. Aim for 10,000 steps per day. Display exercise prescription in a visible place. By that, at your desk, just write, these are my goals for today. So I need to probably do skipping or half an hour of yoga, 1 hour of anything you can do, but make sure there's a prescription in front of you all throughout the day so that you don't forget it. If you drive to work or stores or park in any space far away from the door, and walk. If you take public transportation, get off a stop early and walk. Walk on your lunch breaks. So by lunch breaks, I do not mean walk after your lunch. Walk before your lunch, because if you go for a walk after your lunch, then whatever nutrient that you have taken will not be absorbed properly. Try exercising with friends or a group, because it makes it easier to walk. Consider strength training for at least 20 minutes 2 to 3 times per week. And know your numbers. BMI, if your BMI is above 25, then yes, you are at a risk of developing diabetes probably. Cholesterols, again, very important, because one of the leading complication of diabetes is cardiac issues, and vice versa. Blood pressure, again, because we are not walking, the salt intake is too high. Almost 70% of the Indian population have high blood pressures. Blood sugars. You know, there was a very interesting study actually, a survey that was conducted, and what we got to know was almost every 4th person in India is a pre-diabetic. And if you don't pay attention to that pre-diabetes now, you will become a diabetic very soon. So blood sugar, fasting levels less than 110 milligram per deciliter of blood. Post-meal sugars less than 140 milligram per deciliter of blood is very important to maintain. And if you're diabetic, it should be less than 7%. If you're a non-diabetic, it should be less than 5.6%. And even if it is 5.5, it is alarming. You should be aware that yes, I am heading towards diabetes and I need to take control of that. So 4 cornerstones that I talk about: bad diet, it should be cut through; lifestyle with exercises; stress management. Again, if you're too stressed, do not sleep with that stress on. Relax, do any regeneration activity at night, and then sleep. If you sleep with your stress on, then what will happen is your sugar levels will start precipitating in the body. Hence, when you wake up, your sugar levels will go high. So building a healthy lifestyle involves both choices and actions. A healthier lifestyle can be accomplished with the choices and actions that you make each day. Not by thinking, probably I'll go to work tomorrow, I might maintain a dietary schedule from so and so day. It is not a dietitian or a doctor who's going to prescribe you each and everything. You have a general baseline which is available in all throughout the internet. Follow that and be clever enough to manage your meals. If that is done, you would not require a doctor or a